Good day, students. Welcome back to class. Today we are looking at cable and wire. And the outline of this presentation goes as follows. First, we'll take the definition of a cable. We'll look at also cable types and application. Next, we'll take wiring color code, cable installation in house wiring, wire gauge and cable selection, and then finally we'll look at cable rating and derating. Let's move on. What is a cable? Wire and cable are used interchangeably in house wiring. However, in a strict sense, you can say that a wire is a single conductor, whether bare or insulated, whereas a cable is numerous wires stranded together. That is to say that this can be considered as a wire, while this figure here stands for cable. But in IEE regulations, bare conductors, single or stranded, is considered a wire, whereas insulated conductors are considered as cables, which means that a cable contains three main parts: a conductor, or what we call the core, the insulation or the dielectric, and then the third part, which is the protective or protective covering of the conductor inside. A conductor offers a low resistance to current flow. That is to mean it means that a conductor will have a low electrical resistance. It should be mechanically strong and flexible. A conductor should also be relatively cheap. Conductors in cable are usually copper and aluminum. Of course, silver is the best conductor, but it's very expensive. So what you often find in house wiring is that of copper. So let's look at the cable types. Cables can be classified according to their insulation type. There are other ways you can classify a cable. Insulating materials must possess the following properties. It must have high resistivity, it must have high flexibility, it must be non-inflammable. It should also have high resistivity to moisture, acid, or alkalis. Why this? High resistivity, because if it is not high resistive, the insulator will conduct electricity. If it is not flexible, it will be difficult to use in house wiring. If it is inflammable, it will catch fire easily, and so on. So let's look at the classification of cables based on the insulation type. Number one, we have polyvinyl chloride cable, which is PVC cable, often used. One thing to know about this cable is that PVC, when they are heated, it can get soft, and if it is not the right current passing through the conductor, it can melt. Although today PVCs are treated, and most of them can withstand high temperature. The second type is the tough rubber sheeted cables, which is abbreviated as TRS. This cable has a property that is resistant to acid and alkalis. So if you want to use the cable where you're expecting to have some acid and alkaline solution, you go for this kind of cable. The third one is polychloroprene or neoprene cables, just similar to that of TRS, except that this one will withstand most weather conditions like direct sunlight. Example of cables in this category is the XLPE, that's cross-linked polyethylene, and the EPR cables. The fourth type of cable in terms of insulation is the heat resisting, oil resisting, and flame retardant cables, which is HOFR. As the name implies, this kind of cable is it withstand very high amount of heat. It can withstand oil. You must have noticed that when you put a plastic oil in the plastic, after some time the plastic will get spoiled. So but this kind of insulation can withstand oil, can withstand flame, and it is used in a place that is very, you expect to have rugged conditions. Because all insulating materials used in the manufacture of cables are mechanically weak, they require some type of mechanical protection. Power lines that are put directly in the ground are frequently mechanically protected. Apart from the normal insulations, you can see this figure here. You see this. This is a layer of steel. So you can have some iron. After one layer, you put another layer. Like if some of you that may have worked with armored cable, you put those ions to give it mechanical strength, so that the cable will not be destroyed, especially when they are buried on the ground, or maybe they are laid in a place where machines will be passing on top of them. Okay, this other type of cable, just classification. This one is not based on the insulation, just flexible cord or cables. In IEE regulation, flexible cables are defined as cable that consist of one or more cords, each containing a group of wires, the diameter of the wires and the construction of the cable being such as to afford flexibility. In fact, cables that afford very high flexibility is called a flexible cable. What makes a flexible cable flexible is that you will reduce you have large number of strands. Example is this one is a twin core, and you know this type of cable that we use in electric iron, and this type also. They are flexible cables, but what is important here that flexible cables are not used for static installation like house wiring, but they are used in something that requires movement. Let's say you want to install something briefly in a place, and after you take it to another place, you need the wire and the conductor to be flexible. So this is all we have for the types of cable. So today we have looked at the definition of a cable. We have also looked at the cable types. In the following video, we'll be looking at wiring color code and all other ones. I want to stop at this point so that you can digest. See you in the next video. Thank you.